Erich Griessler, thank you very much for taking the time for this interview.
Thank you for inviting me.
Could you briefly introduce yourself and your organization?
I'm a sociologist and historian by training, and I'm working for the Institute for Advanced Studies in Vienna, which is a non-university social science research institute involving economists, sociologists, political scientists. We are working in different research groups, and one of the interdisciplinary research groups, and one of them is the one I'm leading, which is called Techno-Science and Societal Transformation. And we are looking very much on the interrelationship between science, technology, and innovation and society, because we assume that science, technology, and innovation are not something which just falls from heaven, but is something which is human-made, which is made by society, which has implications on society, and where you can have particular choices on science, technology, and innovation, and therefore you can also have something like conscious choices. And if there are these conscious choices, there might be democratic choices. So our question is, on the one hand, how does science, technology, innovation have an impact on society? On the other hand, how can society have an impact on the way science, technology, and innovation is made? We are currently involved in a number of projects which are dealing with this question of responsible research and innovation from different angles. We are not only looking at the impact, but also what kind of processes are needed. Do we need also changes in the way how we do research and innovation? Is, for instance, the academic system, how it gives credit to individuals and their careers? Is this helping responsible research and innovation? Are our business models in this direction?
You're leading one of the biggest RRI projects in HoRRIzon 2020, the so-called New HoRRIzon project. What are the main objectives of the project? What is the project about?
The idea was to look at each of the programs within HoRRIzon 2020, which includes very basic research like ERC, but also emerging research or societal challenges or Euratom, and to see how can you implement this concept of responsible research and innovation into the framework program itself. There is a lot of discussion about what actually is responsible research and innovation, and there were basically two branches. On the one hand, this Commission definition of a responsible research and innovation, which said that responsible research and innovation should bring together science and society more closely, and to see that the impact is strengthened, but also that it should recognize more strongly public engagement, gender equality, science education, ethics, open access, and governance. But also to be open for this other, which is more an academic definition of responsible research innovation, which has this reflexivity and anticipatory part in it very strongly, but also to be open for other questions of or definition of responsibility which are out there in the world, like corporate social responsibility in industry.
You also use co-creation techniques in the pilot actions. Mm-hmm. What are these pilot actions, and how do you organize them?
There are 3 workshops, one at the beginning, one the middle, one in the end, where people come together to think about the pilot activities. And in these workshops, the pilot activities are developed in a co-creation approach. You get together, you say, okay, what do I want to accomplish? Where do I see the deficit? Where do we want to go? How can we, what are the obstacles to go there? What kind of measures would be necessary to achieve this goal? And how can we, so what is then the pilot activity? And what do we have to do in order to achieve these pilot activities? And these pilot activities can be of very different scale and of their very different objectives. Like, for instance, we realize one of the main problems of RRI is, and this is just an example, showing the benefits to researchers or to funders about the benefits of RRI. So the pilot activities is find benefits, write them up in a way that it's easy to digest and understand by people in order to promote it and to lobby for RRI. Another example is we want to engage the public. How can we do that? We want to show the public what we are doing. Another pilot activity would be also on the level of public engagement. I'm having an ERC project. This is an example. I want to show to people, to actors who might be interested in my research results for their own professional life, what are the outcomes of my research project and how can I communicate it to them. And so far we developed 57 of them. We involved in the social labs about 300 people who met now for this. We are now in the third round, so they met twice. So 57 pilot activities, which are actually rather focused and and some of them are kind of small, others are bigger, but they really address this kind of, and also if you put them together in a systemic level, the different obstacles for RRI on different levels.
What is the idea behind the social labs?
The social lab actually is a way of that you bring together people who have who share a certain vision, who define a certain societal challenge, and who want to tackle this societal challenge by developing together, after a diagnosis of the problem, an activity to tackle it, to change it. And the most important thing is that you try to act, to experiment, to learn what you accomplished with your experiment, and then you try it again, you change it, or you continue with what worked. And also to bring together people who can make a change and who are from different organizations which are concerned or affected by this problem. Because many problems are systemic in nature. They are not only in one organization, they involve many organizations and many perspectives and many different societal actors.
You also established an RRI Ambassador Network. How does it work?
We are kind of getting together people who are interested in RRI, are involved in our social labs, and ask them in their capacity, in their everyday work, to convey them this message of responsible research and innovation in their own organization, and also to accomplish and to tackle and to promote this institutional change in their own organizations.
After 2 years in the project, what are your main learnings and findings?
The desire to have this kind of responsible research and innovation. There are many people who share that. But I think there are many obstacles. First of all, in basic research, where they say, okay, actually we just have to look at excellence, and if we look at excellence, then we don't know when, and we don't know how, and we don't know why. There will be a certain beneficial impact on society because we did our excellent basic research, and maybe, and the example which is very often brought is, we didn't know 100 years ago in physics what it will bring, but now we have the cellular phone or whatsoever, or we have GPS. So there is this idea that if we follow excellence, it will lead to the best impact. And then the second argument against responsible research and innovation is technology push. We have the technology, we follow the technology, and the best technology will be implemented, and therefore we don't have to care about responsible research and innovation because we will have the best technology and just follow the engineers, and we don't need any public engagement. So I think there are organizational, institutional, individual, societal difficulties, but there is also this kind of belief system on the one hand in scientific excellence, on the other hand on this technology push.
The upcoming HoRRIzon Europe project treats responsible research and innovation as a cross-cutting issue and likes to integrate these aspects into each individual project. How can RRI be effectively integrated into the new project in HoRRIzon Europe?
I think it's too early to streamline responsible research and innovation into the new framework program. I think that our experiences show that it's still responsible research and innovation still in a very early stage. That it's although there's a lot of knowledge out there in the many projects which has been done, there is not a kind of consolidated body, and there is also no institutional organization which kind of nurtures, promotes this knowledge which has been created. And there is also still not enough understanding outside the small responsible research and innovation community about this concept of responsible research and innovation. So I would be afraid that if you don't support responsible research and innovation, for instance, with an institution, or make it obligatory to include it in each and every project and to show how this can be included, it might be very difficult to implement in the new framework program, and there is a certain danger that it just disappears.
Thank you very much for this interesting discussion.
You're welcome. Thank you for having me.